Some people are not designed for softness. They are shaped through weight. If your life has felt heavier than most, if you were forced to mature inwardly while others remained unaware, this is not coincidence. There are marks that do not show on the body, but settle deep within the soul. Those who carry them are not protected from struggle. They are prepared by it. What follows is not superstition or fantasy. It is pattern. It is behavior. It is the visible outcome of alignment with a higher order when life applies pressure. These are 4 signs you are marked by God, not for comfort, but for strength. Sign 1, you were given responsibility before relief. If you are marked for something greater, life rarely opens with gentleness. It begins with demand. While others were allowed to drift, to be shielded, to grow slowly, weight was placed on your shoulders early. Responsibility arrived before confidence. Loss came before clarity. Pain entered before explanation. For a long time it felt unfair, almost targeted. But this is the first mark. Those meant to grow strong are not formed in ease. They are forged under pressure. The ancient thinkers understood this law well. Epictetus, born into slavery, taught that hardship is not a detour from life's design. It is the design. Adversity, he argued, is the arena where character is, exposed, not erased. A mind never tested remains unqualified for freedom. When we look back honestly, we see the pattern. The events that hardened us were not accidents. They were deliberate challenges. Each burden forced us inward. Each struggle demanded discipline, control, and endurance. And quietly, without recognition, something solid formed within us. This is why those marked often feel older than their years, not in body, but in mind. We carried questions others never had to face. We sat with silence while others avoided it. We learned to regulate emotion because no one else would do it for us. Modern Stoic thinkers like Donald Robertson note that resilience is not inherited. It is conditioned through repeated exposure to manageable hardship. This mirrors the ancient view. The soul strengthens the same way the body does, through resistance. That is why obstacles were not removed from our path. They were placed directly in front of us. And notice something important. Despite the weight, we endured. Not through luck, but through adaptation. We learned to choose response over impulse, to endure without turning bitter, to carry pain without advertising it. Marcus Aurelius wrote that what obstructs the path becomes the path itself. For those who are marked, obstacles are not delays. They are initiations. This is also why comfort often feels foreign to us. In calm moments, we remain alert, prepared. Not because we are damaged, but because our nervous system was trained for responsibility, not ease. And this conditioning serves a purpose. Those who can bear weight without collapsing become stabilizers for others. Those who remain composed in chaos become leaders whether they seek that role or not. The burden was never meant to destroy us. It was meant to expand our capacity. Sign 2. You feel separate, even in company. One of the quietest signs that a higher force is shaping you is this internal distance. You can be surrounded by people and still feel slightly removed from the noise. Not superior, not arrogant, just inwardly distinct. Conversations grow shallow quickly. Crowds exhaust rather than energize. Approval loses its appeal. Yet you are not antisocial. You are misaligned. This separation is not dysfunction. It is indication. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote often about standing apart from collective madness, not by abandoning society, but by refusing to absorb its chaos. To live among people without becoming like them was, to him, the highest discipline. Those marked for a deeper path feel this early. While others chase status, validation, and stimulation, we feel drawn toward quiet, reflection, and inner order. This creates loneliness, but not the loneliness of rejection. The loneliness of outgrowing certain frequencies. Modern Stoic philosophers like Massimo Pigliucci explain that wisdom naturally produces distance. Not emotional coldness, but clarity. When values evolve, environments must either rise or fall away. This is not punishment, it is alignment. We notice our tolerance for drama eroding. Provocation no longer hooks us. Gossip feels heavy, complaints feel circular. Emotional excess feels wasteful. So we listen more, speak less, observe. This is not retreat, it is refinement. Epictetus taught that most people live outwardly, ruled by impulse, opinion, and approval. The moment someone turns inward and governs their reactions, they step outside the crowd. That step feels isolating, but it marks the beginning of freedom. Here is the deeper truth. Separation is preparation. Those meant to guide, stabilize, or influence others cannot be submerged in the emotional tides of the group. We must learn to stand firm while others sway, to think clearly while others react blindly. This is why life gradually removes us from certain people, habits, and spaces. Not suddenly, but steadily. Invitations fade, laughter quiets. Old connections no longer fit. It hurts at first. Then something else happens. Silence sharpens us. Solitude strengthens us. Distance trains discernment. We stop explaining ourselves, stop performing, stop proving. And in that stillness, we discover inner independence. Seneca wrote that the wise person is content with themselves, not because they reject others, but because they no longer require them for identity. That self-sufficiency is not arrogance, it is armor. So if you feel separate even when surrounded, do not rush to correct it. This is not disconnection, it is elevation. You are being trained to stand alone so you can later stand for something. This too is a mark. Sign 3. Pain refined you instead of breaking you. There is a kind of strength that cannot be learned through theory, mentors, or comfort. It is forged only under pressure. If your hardest seasons sharpened you rather than hardened you, this is not coincidence. It is one of the clearest indicators of higher design working through resistance. Most people fracture under pain. Some turn resentful. Others grow cruel. But a rare few are refined. We recognize this internally. Our wounds did not make us reckless. They made us deliberate. We grew quieter, not louder, more controlled, not volatile, more observant, not reactive. Where others seek sympathy, we learned restraint. Where others curse fate, we learned responsibility. This transformation is not instinctive. It is trained. Marcus Aurelius viewed adversity as fuel for the rational mind. Hardship was not a disruption to life. It was life's most effective instructor. What stands in the way becomes the way, he wrote. This is not optimism. It is disciplined perception. Those marked for greater purpose encounter suffering early and often. Loss, betrayal, humiliation, isolation. Each arrives not to destroy us, but to dismantle illusion. We learn quickly that comfort is unreliable, people are unstable, and control is limited. Instead of collapsing, we adapt. Epictetus taught that pain reveals the quality of one's inner governance. External damage cannot corrupt a well-ordered mind unless permission is granted. This idea is severe, but liberating. Suffering is not the enemy. Unexamined emotion is. So we learn to pause, to question anger, to observe fear, to allow grief without surrendering to it. Over time, This discipline creates something unmistakable: emotional gravity. People sense it. Our presence feels grounded. We do not flinch easily. We do not leak pain onto others. Modern Stoic thinkers emphasize that resilience is not numbness. It is mastery. We feel deeply without drowning. This is why suffering makes sense in hindsight. Each trial trained patience. Each disappointment sharpened judgment. Each loss forced us inward, where strength is built. Pain did not empty us. It refined us. We speak carefully, choose selectively, move intentionally. And perhaps the clearest sign of all, we would not wish our pain on others, yet we would not erase it either. We know who we were before it, and who we became because of it. Seneca wrote that fire tests gold, and hardship tests the brave. Not everyone who suffers grows strong, but everyone who grows strong has suffered. If life attempted to break you and failed, if scars taught clarity instead of cruelty, then understand this: you are not punished, you are prepared. And preparation always comes before purpose. You are called to walk alone, and you can bear it. One of the most misunderstood signs of being marked is isolation. Not abandonment, but direction. If your path repeatedly leads away from crowds, shallow bonds, and constant stimulation, this is not a flaw. It is a signal. Most people fear solitude because silence demands honesty. But some are trained for it. We see the pattern. Friendships dissolve quietly. Circles shrink. Social spaces feel heavy instead of alive. And instead of panic, something emerges. Calm. Not always comfort, but clarity. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius lived surrounded by people, yet remained mentally solitary. He warned that crowds often degrade the soul. Wisdom, he believed, requires distance from constant opinion. Not because others are wrong, but because most are unexamined. Those marked are often separated early, not to punish them, but to protect their formation. Epictetus taught that dependence on validation is a form of slavery. Freedom begins when applause is no longer required. Solitude becomes the training ground. Alone, there is no image to defend, no role to perform, only discipline, or the lack of it. Here is where distinction appears. Some collapse in isolation. Others distract themselves endlessly. But we learn to use it. We refine thought, observe impulse, build order. We do not reject people. We simply stop needing constant proximity to feel complete. Connection becomes intentional, not compulsive. Modern Stoic researchers note that voluntary solitude strengthens emotional regulation and long-term thinking. When stimulation fades, the mind regains authority. This is why those comfortable alone often see further, react less, and plan deeper. People sense this. There is weight in someone who does not chase attention, stability in someone who does not fear being unseen. We do not announce values. We live them. We do not rush to belong. We wait to align. Seneca warned that crowds dilute character. To remain oneself amid noise is rare. To step away deliberately is rarer still. So if your life keeps guiding you into quiet seasons, if growth demands separation, if you can sit with yourself without escape, this is not abandonment. It is preparation. Those marked for greater responsibility are shaped in silence first, because self-mastery must precede influence, and influence without order becomes destruction. You are learning to stand without leaning, to think without echo, to exist without approval. That is not weakness. That is strength forged where few are willing to remain. Subscribe to Stoic Ember for daily wisdom on faith, stoicism, inner strength, and purposeful living. If this message resonated, Like and share to support the channel. Enable notifications so you never miss the next step in building unbreakable inner strength.